Kamal of Urban Diversity Music Group up here at Headspace, kicking it with DJ Kamikaze. I feel like music and the security industry go hand in hand, so I found myself as a nightclub bouncer working at a club that handled a few bigger artists that came in sometimes, and it wasn't necessarily always rap. Sometimes it was heavy metal. So I find myself doing uh, hard rock and heavy metal. I did some security for Skid Row and a few other big rock groups that you would see on MTV back in the day, like that. And I transitioned over into a lot of the hip hop scene. So I've been across the board doing security for a lot of people in the industry over the course of some years now, from some of the bigger names of Snoop Dogg all the way down to some local here in Michigan. You know, you got Trick Trick definitely is here in Michigan, not a local artist, but local here for us in Michigan. He's no, you know, he's kind of one of our bigger ones out of the state. Um, I did a lot of security work for people who are traveling through town as well. Rest his soul today is actually Young Bleed's funeral. You know, he's one of my best friends, and he just got laid to rest a couple hours ago. But I did get a chance to grace the stage with him about a year ago as he passed through town. Um, I did his bodyguard work and got to stand up there while he was doing some of the greats, like how you do that there, etc. Things like that. So it's been a lot of different artists across the board. Currently, I have some shows that I have scheduled. Got tickets for them right here. There were some bigger artists that were on some of those tickets, like Spice One and Big Mike and Ghetto Mafia. So December 13th at Harpo's, we will be performing again, opening up live for the Salute the OGs concert. And hope y'all make it out to that. We got the tickets at $20 a head right now. Got a whole stack of them. So anybody looking, make sure you get a contact. You can get a hold of me through DJ Kamikaze. Otherwise, you can make sure you get in the line and make sure you get yourself a ticket. Well, we make sure that when we go into a venue, I make sure the security team reflects the image and the values that are promoted in the music by staying on task and on target the entire time. If we're on task and on target, time and repeated security accounts have shown that we usually can get the job done without any problems from beginning to end. This is a very touchy business when dealing with live musicians. You go in and there are a lot of different energies and attitudes that go into it, and you just have to make sure that you are consistent. Consistency is a key. So that's where I say you got to stay on target the whole way. When you manage a security business while maintaining your security career, the unique challenges within that dynamic end up being something that I've sort of worked into an art form where I am generally performing at the same show that I'm doing security for a lot of the bigger artists. I open up for them live on stage and then handle their security presence from there on out. While I'm performing, it gives me an opportunity to feel the crowd out and what type of vibe is in the crowd, see if there's any nuances that need to be taken care of before the artist even hits the stage. That way, it can be eliminated before a problem ever arises. There have been quite a few, but right as the question of something memorable that happened with some of the famous artists, um, again, rest his soul, Brother Marquise from the Two Live crew likes to hide from people. I remember doing a a bodyguard job for the 2 Live crew, and he sort of just waited until everybody wasn't looking, and he slipped away, and I was looking for him for about 2.5 hours. And we don't know what happened to him, but I'm making circles around the building, and I just happened to hear a little tiny voice back behind the building. I go and I look behind the dumpster, and there he is sitting on the telephone. And I'm like, man, what are you doing back here? He's like, hi. He was like, I just don't want to be bothered with nobody right now. We done been all over the place. I got girls shaking their ass in my face and everywhere. People trying to get me to sign autographs, all types of stuff. I just want to talk to my people at home. Can I talk to my girl? Can I talk to her? I was like, yes, just please tell me where you going. We thought somebody kidnapped you. I've been looking for you for 2 hours. So yeah, that was memorable. Long-term goals for a security company for me, and the evolution of it over the course of the next 2 years would be, again, as I take it right back to the beginning, of staying consistent with making sure that you cover all your bases, dot all your I's and cross your T's in this game, making sure that artists are comfortable with your security service, because there are a million security companies out there, and they can easily pick somebody else other than you to get the job done if your consistency isn't there. It's important to be 100% on top of your game when you're doing this. You got some really famous people's safety in your hands, and if they can feel safe while you're doing security for them, word travels around the industry. So when they come floating through your state, you are a lot of times the premier go-to for a lot of people that you've met or haven't met yet, but they rubbed elbows with other famous artists out there in the industry and say, hey, I went to Michigan and these guys had me feeling safer than I felt in a long time or ever. So consistency and making sure that everything is always kept at the tightest level is key.
Now, give me a closing statement, any last words, and say who you are and where you're at again.
In conclusion to everything that we had going on, I like to say that, as far as the last statement I just made with consistency, it's important in security, but it's also important in your music career that, you're always consistent, that you're a busy musician. You're keeping your music stock going for people that are always looking to listen to you, because there are a huge sea of musicians and you could easily get lost in being complacent. If you don't put out music all the time, when you do put it out, make sure that you put out a lot. Put out a couple albums at a time. If you don't put out music that much, like me, I put out an album like maybe every 2.5 years. But when I drop, I'm dropping 50 songs all at once. So what I would have done over the course of that time, I'm putting it all out at once so that people have a huge backlog to go back to listen to. Because again, consistency is key. And me, I take that much time in between putting out music so that I can make sure that I put out the best stuff. So I may have put out 50 songs, but over the course of that time, I've made 200 songs or 250 songs, and I picked the best 50 out of those. And not that the other songs aren't good, it's just that the 50 that I pick go best with that project, or they're the strongest ones at that particular time. So your consistency and how much you are willing to put into it will show in your crowd response and how many people show up to your shows, how much people are looking for you. You also want to have a large video internet presence. as well as your audio presence, your video presence, and people being able to visually see you in this game doing what you do is important. So you want to make sure that you get out there and film some music videos like I'm doing now, do some interviews, let people be personable with you and talk to you and see you on a different level than whatever they can gather just from listening to a song of yours. It's important as an artist to be able to be reachable. Some people always have a big shield up, and that's one of those things that separates that barrier between artist and listener that may push you to a new level if that barrier wasn't there. So you want to make sure that your listeners are able to connect with you. It's important.